YouTube, Greg VENUTO here for another rant and roll. Yeah, rant, diatribe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really complaining, but this is like rant two of the series. And real quick, I was in, I lived in the President Hotel with my dad in 1972, and I bought an album from Tony Williams. It was Tony Williams' Ego. And my life was turned around, and I started studying very seriously with my teacher, Henry Adler. So, and of course I went on to do my own thing, but Henry gave me a good foundation. But what I say about Moeller, God knows I love Keith Carlock and Ed Sof as Sof has taught many great students. So many drummers I love use that technique. My only problem is it's the only thing that's being taught, whether you the French flying fingers or whatever, Moeller, and I think when I was growing up there was a lot less of that, and yeah, it's nothing against that technique at all. It's just that the technique that Henry and my idols were using, the hands didn't look like that, the arms, whatever. It's all connected, and so I want to get that across. It's not about hating. We all need love and support as a drum community, and I'm just trying to pass on what was given to me, and and I've worked very hard at loving the drums. Like, I hope a lot of you guys out there love it too, And so let's begin with real quick. I hear a lot about the wrist. I hear a lot of great drum educators talk about the wrist, and what I basically hear is like, I hear the door, this is like a door, or you can't play the ride beat if you're a jazz drummer. You death guys aren't going to be interested. Probably not even going to be watching this channel, you death metal guys. But for a guy that wants to play all around, I hear you can't use your wrist, just your wrist on playing a ride beat, and then the educator will continue and show the French grip and Moeller. And the thing about the Henry Adler system and what I teach is, I've never seen in my life anybody play with just wrist. So when these guys explain, they start going like this. And it's like, I've never seen anybody in all my life play just wrist. So what I teach, and what you'll find on the primary series, is everything it's a loose type of thing, right? You can hit as hard as you want. You add the forearms. Don't forget, everything is connected. The wrist. There's probably things we don't even know about. There's nerves. There's the forearm. There's the muscles in the arm. It's really very simple, and we make it very complex, So the thing that bugs me is when guys talk about the wrist, and they really don't know about the wrist thing. I mean, when they talk about the Moeller thing and they explain the wrist thing, they're not really talking about it right. So we have the wrist, right? So in the beginning, you isolate the wrist. But it's funny, if I play a ride beat, if I play a fast bop thing, there's fingers, there's a wrist, my hand, whatever. I feel a little bit in the forearm, right? If I do a single stroke, that's pretty much wrist. If I bring it up, right? Add some forearms and start getting a little louder. I don't feel wrist as much. I'm feeling everything. Feeling the forearm. How about doubles? Well, I feel a lot there. I'm feeling fingers. I'm feeling bouncing. And I'm feeling the wrist. So you see, it gets kind of complex. So the system that I teach, I think it could even be, I think it deals with words. It's like, what I see now is like Keith Carlock, a very unorthodox way of playing Moeller. It's like extreme Moeller almost, with the French grip and that. So, but with the system that I teach, the fingers are always there, but included. The bouncing is there, and all the other areas and modalities that I talk about. So it's basically everything is everything. It's like I may not be as extreme as playing a French grip, but the fingers are there. The fingers may not be that extreme, but it's there. So everything's combined, and probably a little less hidden, probably more hidden, and whereas in the other techniques, it's very much open and a whip and this and that and other stuff that I really don't want to talk about because I don't know about it, and you guys know about that. And if it works for you, fine, like I've always talked about. But that's the thing that I don't like it when somebody talks about the wrist, but they don't talk about the bouncing. They don't talk about all this other stuff which most of my drumming favorites used, you know. So that's my little diatribe, my rant, you know, on that. And but it's all good, you know. It's and another thing, you know, I want a quick shout out to a guy, sounds like a drum. His name is Cody. I said something about the key, you know, and I'm not against those videos, and I think he's doing a great job with Sounds Like a Drum. If you really want to get into gear, that's the guy. That's the channel. And he really gets into nuances of changing heads and all that. And another thing is Wheelin' Drums, another shout out. That's somebody that, you know, does play like the greats, but it does it in such a humble way, you know, and that's important. It's important that we, as a community, drummers can be weird. Drummers can be very egotistical and cutthroat. And there's this one guy, I'm a good guy, I'm not going to say anything. This is another little rant. I don't even want to say his name, but he's an old cat that lives in Florida. And he was very nice to me. I sent him a video. He loved the way I played. And all of a sudden, he was like, you only teach mechanics, man. And I was like, well, he hasn't listened to my channel. There's a lot of things on my channel. There's a lot of playing and solos and time. And he goes, I like to see you play with a big band. And, you know, I got lucky. My father's a great percussionist that did the top work in New York City. But we moved to Reno when I was a kid after I studied with Henry. And I started freelancing at a young age. And I played for more people in orchestras and big bands with string sections for stars than this cat will ever play in his whole life. And you know, and it's like, by the time I was 25. So, you know, I don't know where that hate comes from, that somebody would challenge me like that. Like, why are we need positivity, you know? And I'm only here to help you, maybe a technique that's not talked about. And that's all. Pass it on what was given to me, which I worked hard to do, by the way, to get. It took me a long time, a lot of study, and it's not you got to love the drums, you know. And if you really love the drums and you want to play all around, that's where my channel comes in, you know. And I was turned on by Tony Williams when I was 10, you know, Frank Zappa, all the electric stuff, all the bop stuff. I grew up in a stylistic environment. I used to see my dad would be the only white cat on a record date, and then play avant-garde classical recording date when there was a real fruitful recording business. So I just grew up with, especially the master Steve Gadd, who has probably been the best guy that does everything well and with so much musicality and depth and what's right for the music. That taught me a lot. He taught me a lot, you know, and so that's all. It's not any kind of like hating on anybody, you know. We got enough of that. We got enough people hating, and but you know, take what you want, leave the rest. You know, you want to call it a rant, a ramp, a vamp. Isn't ramp a vegetable you put on a salad? No, the rant, you know, it's a rant. I'm ranting, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff, and there's nothing to be, you know, you should be exposed to everything. And what works for you, works for you. And so, maybe enough with the rants. But till next time, a clockwork drummer. All right!